Howdy peeps, it's been a while since my last rant, should we say. Well, I was just sort of talking about, what was I talking about? Not really, what was I talking about? So I've got to go back to my dashboard, have a look at my content. Here we go. Brief on people's lives with autism. And it's interesting because I kind of lost, I suppose it's a thing, YouTube just removes people sometimes randomly off of channels and shit, or sometimes people just get bored and they haven't watched the channel and they just unsubscribe or whatever. But to me, admittedly, it does sometimes make me think, hang on, have I said something that's touched a nerve here? Well, in my last video, which was a brief on people's lives with autism, something had really boiled my piss, right? It really had got on my tits. And this is something that I knew about from a couple of years ago, and I'm sure some of you might be aware of it. And that is the couple that they had an autistic son, I believe it was, from China. They adopted him from China. And yeah, basically when push come to shove, and that house of cards fell to pieces, it's one of them, it's to give up on the kid. It's like giving up on someone. This is a kid that they had adopted from China and then realised that I don't know, maybe they'd bitten off more than they could chew, or maybe they did it for the feels and for the likes and for the air quotes fame, which obviously in the long run didn't pan out too well for them. So the couple were called Micah Stolfer and her husband James, who are based in Ohio. This is just on a basic Google search. And look, that was just one. That's at the time, that wasn't what was going through my head, but it's something that I've known about since 2020. Obviously, it was a thing, especially if you're a YouTuber. Personally, I tend to watch videos more than I create them. But it's just something. It's like, it's that commitment. If you ain't committed, don't. But then it's, the truth behind autism, and it's on a scale like a lot of other things. It's like it affects some people more than others, and they have other things thrown on top and so on, right? Hence mentions of ADHD, Asperger's, all of this. They're all generally interlinked in one way or another. But for me, it's that disappointment. But I think realistically, I mean, the last thing I'd be doing is, as a content creator, if I was in their shoes, I would not be doing something like that. And then, if anything, you need to keep that side of your personal life personal, because honestly, there is so much that happens and so much that goes on that, I don't know, man. And again, with that, there's a lot of other judgmental people as well. Granted, I'm kind of one of them, depending on the topic and whatever. But it just really gets on my tits. And at the same time, I understand it. Like, some of these kids with, generally we hear more about autistic kids than we do about autistic adults. And to understand what they go through, like on their own personal level. Again, when I'm talking about it, I'm assuming someone is at the worst end of autism. Whereas they cannot communicate, they've got severe agoraphobia, the thought of going out in public just to go to the shops to buy a video game, or something, just for example, it gives them anxiety like you wouldn't believe. Whereas other people with autism as well could be quite happy, living mostly a relatively happy life, as it were, despite autism's own drawbacks. But it is one of them. It is one of them scenarios. And then I suppose with that, comes the other aspect when I talk about relationships. I'm not talking about relationships with autistic people. I don't know a great deal about them, to be honest. it's just not. I mean, from my, I suppose you could say, quasi-personal experience, a lot of them, people with autism might not have the full ability to actually form a, air quotes, loving relationship. But look, it's subjective, and I don't mean it across the board. And I think the other thing that really got to me in that video is like I say, the amount of people out there, like this couple in America, they were, I'm going to assume, right, so I could be wrong, and apologies and all of that if I am, but I would assume it'd be the usual thing of subscribe, then you get the PayPal and Patreon and all of that, and but to do that with your own kid that's autistic, I also think it's unfair on the kid. You've got to remember that people with autism haven't got a great deal of self-control in terms of how they react to different scenarios. So to expect, I mean, even the thought for me, and look, we're all human, we all have our own emotions, and some things piss us off more than others, and we react differently to others. But from my point of view, if I was someone that had severe autism, there'd be nothing that could possibly, I think, scare me more than the thought of literally the world being able to see me at my worst. Because of the anxiety that they have, and they know other people are looking at them, and they can see there's something not quite right with them, whether it's body language and gestures, or the way they interact, or maybe even the way they look. So they are fully aware of all these air quotes faults that they see as faults that are wrong with them, and they are fully aware that the rest of the world will see them too. So to air that, I think is a bad idea, man. I think that ain't fair on the individual, for starters. Because again, it's that they have no say on their own privacy for their life. They've got the adopted parents here who are just his videos, and I haven't watched any, I haven't seen any. I don't want to, because I think it would just wind me up even more. And that's not what I want. It's a Friday. I want to sit back. I want to chill. I want to have a nice evening. Do a video for you guys, and just give some more thoughts and perspectives on all of these, like the topics that I'm covering at the moment. Actually, how far into this are we? I can't even see, because if I put. Well, let me see, if I bring my phone up and round and do that 8 minutes 26 seconds, sorry guys, did you like my phone? Jesus Christ, man. Wow, the props. Anyone would think that I'm doing this shit back in the 80s or something, No green screens or anything like that, man. It's just the basics. Yeah, no editors. Kind of sucks, but fuck it, right? you ain't gonna find content like this in many places, I don't think. Yes, because no one wants to see us. Well, good. In a way, kind of good. But yeah, this whole thing, like, people's mentality these days, in my opinion, in situations like this, I just don't think they think them through. They think mostly, I think, of themselves in the short term, potentially short term gain. But long term, man, that could have some detrimental effects to the mental well-being of the individual with autism that's been put on the internet, man. It's like, look, be realistic. It's not even something you can have a sense of humour about, I don't think. Or maybe I can't. I don't think I can, not on that one. I mean, there's some stupid stuff out there that I laugh at, and it's like, those things, they're kind of wrong to laugh at, but at the same time they are kind of funny. Well, when you live with someone that's got autism, you know, through all the bad times, little moments do crop up, and you know it's kind of bad to laugh at them, but at the same time it's like, well, for all the rest of the crap that's going on, that's actually quite funny. But yeah, anyway, look, I'm gonna wrap this one up because I'm gonna try and do a couple of videos for you guys. I'm gonna try and do one today and maybe one tomorrow, but we'll see how that goes, man, because there's more stuff that I want to talk about regarding people and relationships and all this, because that seems to be the thing that it's on my mind the most at the moment, and the state of society and how we got to be to where we're at today. Right, so thank you all for watching. Thoughts, comments and opinions on this video, feel free to jot them down as always. Till the next one, stay cool, stay free, have a good weekend, and peace out.